Good afternoon, Israel Briefers. Welcome to another edition of the Israel Brief with me, Rolene Marks, where we take a look at those top stories making the headlines in Israel. We do it every Monday to Thursday with a side order of no filter, no bull poopy, and of course the customary rant by me on the hypocrite or the moron of the day. Now, speaking of morons, tomorrow is Thursday, which means I need your nominations for this week's mentions, good people, and morons, well, morons, by tomorrow so that I can present to you, our community, our growing community, and welcome to all our new subscribers who are your choices. And as always, I take an audience question every single day. And there are no holy cows here, guys. So whatever you want to ask, there's no such thing as a stupid or ridiculous question. Get those questions coming in via our website or our social media, and let's tackle them together. As always, the Israel Brief is brought to you in partnership with these guys, Lay of the Land. And if you would like to receive our weekly newsletter with original content from our extraordinary writers and your weekly recap of the Israel Brief, please be in touch with us via our website. In the meantime, it is day 684 since the 7th of October. And as we say every single day, we are not going to stop speaking for our hostages. We still have 50 hostages being held captive in the hell of Gaza. It is extremely hot. They have been kept, those that are still alive, in untenable conditions for now 684 days with no food, no water, no sunlight, and no air. We've seen the conditions that the remaining living hostages are in. It is absolutely imperative that we have them home immediately. And of course, for those that are no longer with us, for our deceased hostages murdered by Hamas and other terror organizations, we want to bring them home to lay them to rest with the dignity that they deserve. So let's take a look at those top stories. And Israel is readying for Operation Gideon's Chariot B. I have to tell you, this is the first time there is like a sequel to an operational name, but nevertheless, this is Israel's plans to take over Gaza City, which is really the last remaining major Hamas stronghold. Now, as you know, this has been met with a lot of international opposition and also opposition here in Israel. It's no secret that the IDF and members of the security establishment clashed with Prime Minister Netanyahu over these plans. However, the end result was that the IDF Chief of Staff, Eyal Zamir, said that the IDF will carry out whatever orders in its professional manner that it does. Meanwhile, earlier today, the IDF called up 60,000 reserves in preparation for Operation Gideon's Chariot B, and also extended the service time of about 20,000 reservists. Now, for many people who don't know, because there seems to be this perception in the world that the war with Hamas is fought far away from our homes, and that our army is a professional army or a career army that do this for a living. Israel's army is made up of, yes, Sadir or professional permanent force, but also a massive amount of reservists. And those reservists are our husbands, our friends, our brothers, our fathers, our sons, our daughters, etc. And Gaza is a mere 1.5 or so hours from where I live. So everything is very, very close on it, on top of each other. And also what many forget, especially podcasters and those in the media, and definitely world leaders, is that nobody's ever encountered a war like this. First of all, the type of urban conflict or urban warfare that Israel is engaged in. Very, very compact, very tight, very intensive. And also, we're a tiny country, smaller than the Kruger National Park for South Africans, or New Jersey for Americans, or Wales for our friends from the United Kingdom. And we're literally surrounded by entities who are sworn to our extermination. And so I always find it interesting that we have a lot of podcasters and a lot of pundits and a lot of world leaders who weigh in, but they have never had to face the type of warfare and the type of threat that we do here in Israel. Meanwhile, earlier today, the IDF averted what could have been a massive catastrophe when about a dozen terrorists exited a tunnel in Khan Yunis and opened fire on IDF troops with machine guns and RPGs. The IDF fought back for a significant amount of time, including using air support, and killed at least 8 of the terrorists. We believe some of them might have gone back into the tunnel. However, 3 IDF troops were injured, one of them serious. It is believed that the terrorists were trying to breach an IDF outpost and possibly kidnap soldiers. While the world is focusing on Israel and, of course, castigating Israel for humanitarian aid, and I found this interesting because they don't come here to look. They don't monitor the aid like we do here at the Israel Brief, where you guys check the COGAT site and you check the GHF and you see how much aid is going in and how much is distributed. But Israel is continuing to send in that aid. The last count as of yesterday, 350 trucks entered the Zikim and Kerem Shalom, where I was 2 weeks ago, on the Gaza side, and my report is up on our Israel Brief YouTube channel. Those trucks that came in yesterday, about 350 trucks, are still awaiting collection from the UN and other aid agencies. This is in addition to the airdrops that Israel is coordinating, to the fuel trucks that have come in, and in addition to the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, who are probably close on about, I'd say, 130 million meals served. They are managing to feed Gazans. Now, yesterday, Israel approved the national budget of about $9 billion, and $473 million was earmarked for Gaza humanitarian aid. So here's a question I would like to throw out there, especially to Tony Burke in Australia, and I'm going to get to him in a second. If Israel is deliberately starving civilians in Gaza, why are we budgeting nearly $500 million for aid? Come, guys, now really, it's ridiculous. And this is also relevant to our audience question today, which, as we say in Hebrew, is very tachlis. It's very practical. We're going to get through it. I mean, really, Tony Burke, you're a moron. And to prepare for Operation Gideon's Chariots B, I don't know, it's like Gideon's Chariots, the sequel, the IDF have appealed to NGOs to extend the amount of field hospitals in the Gaza Strip. And the response has been positive, so we are hoping to see the reopening of the European hospital, additional field hospitals, and access routes to medical facilities opened pretty soon. This is as we prepare for the operation. Now we go back to Australia. I mean, I love going down under, but I like going down under for better reasons. The koalas, the echidnas, and most of all, my incredible friends in Oz. But anyway, Australia has fired back. I mean, it's really becoming a tit-for-tat war of words. And the Minister of Interior, Tony Burke, speaking to ABC, which is the public channel in Australia, the state broadcaster, in response to Prime Minister Netanyahu's scathing letter to Anthony Albanese yesterday, where he called him a weak leader who history will remember for betraying Israel and abandoning Australia's Jews. Tony Burke, the Minister of Interior, the one responsible for denying visitation visas for Israeli officials, said that strength is not measured by how many people you blow up and how many people you stop. Again, Mr. Burke, let us remind you of the type of warfare that Israel is fighting, which is compounded by a propaganda campaign by Hamas, and you are literally acting as a stenographer. Well, I do note the interesting responses from Australians, and that's why I love you guys. I love Australians so much. But, I just want to address Tony Burke. It must be so nice to live in a country that is also a continent and an island where you are not surrounded by anyone who wants to exterminate you. Notably absent from your little rant to ABC, and more about ABC in a second, you did not mention the part where Prime Minister Netanyahu addressed the abandonment of Australia's Jews. You allowed a march to take place on the Harbour Bridge in Sydney, an iconic Australian landmark, where the flags of the Taliban, Al-Qaeda and ISIS were flown, and where genocidal chants were shouted. So you might want to sit this one out. And you probably will deny me a visitation visa if you watch this edition of the Israel Brief. But really, you need some perspective, Mr. Burke. The people who are burning Australian flags and saying death to Australia, they're not coming from those who support Israel. Just a word of advice. Now, Prime Minister Netanyahu also wrote a similar letter to French President Emmanuel Macron, accusing him of fueling anti-Semitism and rewarding terrorism with his statement to recognize a state of Palestine. And the response from France was a pithy, "We don't need advice from Israel on how to fight anti-Semitism." Really, France? Really? You want to come at us with that one? Take a long, hard look at what is happening in your country. And finally, and I'll kick the soapbox or the rant under the table for the day, and we'll end on a good note. The 5 observation soldiers who were kidnapped from Nahal Oz military post on the 7th of October, Naama Levy, we can't forget those horrific images of Naama being dragged by her hair, blood on the seat of her pants and in her crotch. Liri Albag, Karina Arayev, Daniela Gilboa, Agam Berger, and I think that's all of them. Yeah, that's all of them. We can't forget how they were taken in such a cruel manner and what they witnessed on the 7th of October. But the good news is that they have completed their intensive hospital care. So now what will happen is, after a series of tests, including blood tests, a comprehensive evaluation program, which includes physiotherapy, includes nutrition and occupational therapy, will be put together for community monitoring and rehabilitation. So guys, we wish you nothing but the best, joy, health, and a wonderful, strong recovery. And judging by the intensity of what they've endured from a medical perspective and the length of time they have been in hospital, you can understand the severity of what they endured on the 7th of October and in captivity. So let's get to that audience question of the day, and it comes from somebody who asks to be anonymous. And that's okay. We don't mind if you want to be anonymous here on the Israel Brief. We're open to everybody. And they want to know, how do we fight back against the media? Well, that's a very good question. And the good news is we are all media consumers. We all have agency, and we are all not powerless. The best thing to do is to make sure that you are armed with the knowledge. And we've got a lot of resources on our Israel Brief website. There are a lot of resources from places like the Foundation for Defense of Democracies, the Henry Jackson Society with their brilliant studies into things like casualty figures and the the allegations of starvation. There is honest reporting, there is camera, there is Stand With Us, there is a host of sites with valuable information. And I found that the best way to deal with the media is to write in factually as opposed to emotionally or accusatory. Never be accusatory, rather just come with facts. And also, the more you push back, the more you have to hold them responsible for misinformation and disinformation, and call them out, whether it's on social media, whether it's on calls to studios or letters to editors. Every single one of us can push back against the misinformation. This is why people are losing trust in the mainstream media and are coming to places like, the Israel Brief for your news from Israel. So guys, thank you. That's it from today, but we would really love your help in growing our community and growing our channel. So if you like this content, if you think it's valuable, please consider liking, sharing, and subscribing. We want to get as many eyeballs on it as possible. Please don't forget our website at www.layoftheland.online. Our YouTube channel is at the Israel Brief. Our Facebook site is at Lotl's site. What am I forgetting, guys? Instagram at Rolene_Marks, LinkedIn at Rolene Marks, and X at Lay of the Land 5. So guys, God bless you all. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you again. Don't forget your mentions and morons. Bye for now.